Hello. Here I am sitting in Las Vegas this morning, being like, is anybody alive over there who tried to raid Area 51? And thankfully it looks like people weren't ridiculous about it, like excessively ridiculous. I don't count dressing up in alien costumes and being eccentric and having fun as ridiculous. I count that as having fun. I'm talking about people that I was worried that would actually go and run past the guards. Or just the perimeter. I was gonna please don't. People are joking about aliens. I'm like, no, it's gonna be my government that it probably abducts you, not the aliens. So, I'm glad that people seem to be okay, because I was really worried about that. But it's been interesting this whole week here in Las Vegas. Our local news has had a lot of coverage about the raid for Area 51. And it hasn't been, I think, as many people as they thought, but also I think a lot of folks didn't even think anyone would show up. And you have two different locations. So one is there's two out in Lincoln County in Nevada, and there's one here in Clark County, which is where Las Vegas is. And that was downtown. That was the festival they had downtown. And it's been kind of surreal. Not only because people showed up, but because things like, an actual Naruto runner going past the newscaster live. That was hilarious. I was like, thank you. Life is a little bit more bearable now. And people just generally, hopefully, having a lot of fun, which is great because, again, the world is kind of a lot of the time. So if people are having fun, that's important. I guess there were 2 Dutch nationals that were arrested earlier this week. This morning on the news, they were talking about 2 people that got arrested, but they weren't specific about it, so it wasn't very helpful because I don't know if it was the same folks as what I just mentioned, or if it was 2 other folks that did. So yeah, there's just a lot of selfies and I guess social media posts and fun things kind of like this, but I'm not there, obviously. And I'm not there for a number of reasons, some of which also have to do with the fact that I take an entrance exam tomorrow to get into a particular kind of graduate school, and I'm just kind of yeah, no, it's the LSAT. I'm taking the LSAT tomorrow. For those of you that don't know, that's for law school. So I'm taking it first thing at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. So yeah, I didn't go there for that reason, but also because I hate crowds. Okay, hate's a strong word. I strongly dislike being in crowds because I get kind of overloaded easily with stuff. ADHD. Anyway, yeah, that would be unfortunate. There are a lot of people, but again, I don't think there's as many people as they thought that would show up. I know the locals have been really ticked off about it. I have family in Lincoln County, and yeah, I feel bad for folks out there because they were really, they were freaked out. They were scared. They're like, oh no. First of all, outsiders, which, for small towns is a thing. Regardless of states or countries, people are like, oh no, outsiders. And, secondly, people just, they like living out there for a reason, right? They're probably not great with crowds, kind of like me, and are just like, yeah, no, go away. Somebody just texted me. It's weird. It's been weird. When I found out that the guy who originally organized it, the Facebook shitpost, was from Bakersfield, I'm like, of course you are, because that's near Edwards Air Base in California, where there's a lot of different stuff that seems to go on in the sky. All the years that my family has driven to Arizona or Nevada to visit family, I remember driving through there, and we always would see different aircraft in the air testing, doing their flight. My words are failing me. Their different flight patterns and drills and practices and stuff. So it's not really that near Bakersfield, but it's enough so that I'm like, yeah, I could kind of see why this might be on your radar. Also, you just might be a person who's really into that and thinks it's interesting and or hilarious. So I moved here from Modesto, which is also part of the Central Valley in California, just like Bakersfield is. So there's that kind of that valley thing where I'm like, okay, that makes sense somehow. Don't ask. It's like logistics, like going to the toilet, and what do you do with the trash, and what do you do about, you know, security is obviously a thing. But Nevada, I don't really worry about that because you just have so many government workers, and then people that have former law enforcement or security enforcement experience from casinos and other things that I don't really think that they were gonna be like, you know, let me put it this way, I don't think they were gonna be shorthanded in that way. There are gonna be people around who are gonna be able to show up to help out. And I think the same thing when it comes to setting up logistical things related to crowd control in general, beyond the security thing, but also just you know, porta potties, event planning, that kind of stuff. If there's one thing that Las Vegas and Clark County and a lot of the folks in Nevada know, because probably of the businesses in Las Vegas and all that, is how to set up an event. So at least you got that covered. Yeah, I actually also wanted to say, my family has been in the Arizona and Nevada region for a while. I mean, Las Vegas hasn't been here for very long compared to a lot of other cities, and it's pretty interesting because my family used to have a gas station between Kingman and Las Vegas, and I think it was in the mid to late 40s. I think it was late 40s because I'd be after the war. Like late 40s that they set up the gas station. And then I forget when everybody moved away from it. But put it this way, like the gas station was out in the middle of nowhere. If you think that, like, there's a bunch of gas stations and other things out there now, even Chloride is like way more populated than it used to be. Again, this is in between Kingman, Arizona and Las Vegas, Nevada. Although technically Boulder City is before Las Vegas, Nevada, when you take the roads. But it's weird because there was nothing out there, right? There was nothing out there back then. And my family had this, they have some interesting stories like from that place, but one of the ones was that I guess it was one of my relatives. I don't think it was Grandpa, but I'm not sure it was Grandpa. It's been a while since I've thought about this story, where they saw something weird outside, and of course it's pitch black out there. There is nothing, just the stars, right? This is, if you can, yeah, it's the desert. Way back then, nothing, no light pollution, okay? So he's out there and fam's out there, and I guess that they saw something in the sky and they were kind of like it was acting weird. It was not supposed to be there, whatever it was, and it was like hovering and then would move kind of funny and then it would stop again. And so thinking it was something ridiculous or stupid that, you know, couldn't possibly be a thing, or, oh, let's see how real it is kind of thing, one of my family members went in and grabbed it. I think it was Grandpa. Grabbed a lantern, or not lantern, I think it was like one of those flashlights that had the little color. You could change the color of the light using these different little, I think so you could put it over the lens. I don't know if they were filters or cards or something, so like red or green or different colors like that, and he went back outside and shone that up into the sky doing bunch of different colors, and he was, you know, probably making fun of it, and all of a sudden it started to move towards the station, and they were like and he ran back inside and they shut off all the lights and they locked the doors and they just stayed that way. So that was my family a long time ago, their experience with some kind of unidentified flying object. And the only other strange stories I have, and I'm only going to share this because I've seen YouTubers and different folks doing different activities out there, which is totally cool, as long as they're legal. Just be careful out there. So people doing like metal detecting and stuff. And of course, the first thing that came to my mind is, this person was like, oh, these things are magnetized. And I'm like, that could be natural, but also just be careful doing metal detecting out near Area 51. And if I was going to do metal detecting there, or if I was going to go over there, I would bring a Geiger counter. Because, yeah, they did a lot of testing out there, okay? Not just at like the Mercury test site, which is like outside of Las Vegas, near Indian Springs, but way out there near Rachel and all that. Yeah. So, and the other thing is, people don't realize some of those are still active ranges where they test things. So, yeah. What I was going to say in relation to that is that my family, when my family lived, I think it was up this way. It had to be in Vegas because it was about 100 miles away from a little bit over from Area 51. So the edge of Vegas back then. They used to have scheduled earthquakes. And my grandma, she said that the weirdest one was when they had scheduled earthquakes. It's weird for me to imagine this. The one that she remembers the most was when light came through the walls. White light came through the walls, and all the shadows went away. So, yeah, living near testing with scheduled earthquakes and having white light come through the walls and get rid of all the shadows and make everything like white. And my family's always been like, haha, it's good to know there was no radiation exposure there, ah ha ha ha. So I'm always kind of like, oh shit. Funny enough, grandma never did get lung cancer or anything from smoking like a chimney or anything. So she died of Lyme's disease. So I'm always kind of like, because like nobody who was around then, I think none of them died of cancer or anything. And they probably should have, but they didn't. So I kind of find that interesting. There's probably no correlation. It's probably fine. Yeah. Careful, okay? Because sometimes the things that, I don't think that they would allow, I'd like to believe that they wouldn't allow, any area that would be radioactive or contaminated with enough radiation that it could pose a danger over time to be available for the public to drive through, like of the road, right? Or any of that, but I don't know that. And I also happen to know that at least in Lincoln County, the government apparently has paid out damages related to stuff like that in people's health. I don't know the details, but I've heard my relatives talk about it. So yeah, and I actually just had a relative who worked at the mercury test site pass away recently, and he passed away because of cancer. And I know that he got some compensation from the government because it was likely correlated to him working out there. So there are definitely unseen dangers out there that aren't just aliens. And I'm not making the statement that if you go out there, you're gonna get into radiation contamination. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's a history of testing of all kinds out here, okay? Whether you believe it's aliens, whether because it is, there's atomic testing. By the way, there's an atomic testing museum here in Las Vegas that I really want to go to. And there's a little bit of an exhibit for it in the Springs Preserve at the State Museum here in town too. So I'm not making allegations like that. I'm just telling you my family's stories, and that's just something to be aware of and to just share that with you. So yeah, again, if you're doing metal detecting, please be careful. Okay? In fact, that reminds me, there used to be blue glass that you could get out there, out in that area. And guys used to, my relative that worked at one of the things, he said that guys used to put glass out there and then the glass would turn blue after those explosions. And if you go and you find authentic blue glass from that time period when they were doing those testings, they actually have low, or they give off radiation. If you put a Geiger counter up to those glass bottles, they'll give off radiation, and that means it's authentic from then. So, fun glass antique history fact, I guess. Yeah. So that's all I really had to say about the Area 51 raid and just some of my family's history of being in this area and the weird shit that they've experienced. Yeah, so in the coming days, I hope people just go ahead and have fun like they've been having and get to share different weird stories like that, because, what's the fun of being around if you don't get to share some weird shit with each other, right? So, take care, okay? And, yeah, have fun out there, be careful, and be respectful. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. I get it, when people in small towns are ugh, to you, but, it's just keep in mind they live out there for reasons, okay? I'm not gonna pretend to understand any of them because I'm not them. But I'm enough of a hermit inside here that I kind of get the feel of not wanting to have a lot of people around. So yeah. Yeah, take care as you're able, and I'll be making another entry here soon. Bye.